Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a story titled, My Wife of 16 Years Cheated on Me with Her Boss. And guys, this is a total cliche story about a guy who definitely senses something's up with his wife, okay? She trusts his gut, and lo and behold, it turns out that she is cheating on him with her boss. Okay, like I said, very cliche, huh? And because of his gut feeling, he confronts her on this, and to no surprise, she denies it, but he presses on and finally gets her to admit this, and everything like that. But here's the thing, guys. You're going to see through this story how even though he's trying to get her to talk about this and come clean, she keeps lying and lying and lying and lying about more and more stuff. Then she gets caught, apologizes, and there's more lying and more lying going on. And I'm doing this video, guys, because the first part, I'm going to talk about how important it is to trust your gut in a situation and go with it. Your gut knows all. It's crazy. Whenever I trust my gut, I'm always happy I do, because if I didn't trust my gut, I would have been in a bad situation. Okay, for those of you guys that are older, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here. Also, the important thing from this video you're going to take from it is this: is that even though you're going to see she was cheating on him and lots of lying and all that, and you're going to find out that she obviously was hoping to have something with the boss, and the boss is clearly a pump and dump type, he ultimately wants to try to make it work in spite of all this for the kids. And it goes to show that it's just simply, that's very noble of him wanting to do so, but at the end of the day, the kids know that something's up. And raising a kid in a household with a mom and dad don't love each other, don't respect each other, and all that just isn't going to work. And sometimes you gotta just let something end and move on. And so you're gonna see why I have this opinion on this particular thing as I go through the story here. So, starts off saying, about a month ago, my wife cheated on me with her ex-boss. He says in parentheses, he left the company the week before. We were both supposed to go to a party downtown that night and spend the night at a nearby hotel. Our babysitter became unavailable, and I needed to stay home with our kiddo, who's 5 years old. She decided that she would go alone and stay the night without me. Before she left work that morning, I told her how uncomfortable I was with that. And he says, normally I wouldn't have cared, but my spider sense was tingling because of weirdness over the previous few days. She told me there was nothing to worry about, and that was that. Interesting how this guy had a gut feeling something was up. And you're going to see something was up. He says, I woke up with a start at 2:15 a.m. and a knot in the pit of my stomach. She recently turned off her phone location service, and that should have been a big red flag, but I didn't actually think that much of it. But I checked it anyway. She turned it back on, and I could see she was in an apartment complex nowhere near the party location. She was there until 9 a.m. Isn't that interesting? I confronted her when she got home, and after some half-hearted lies, she stopped denying it. It was the first time she'd been thinking about it and planning it for a couple of weeks. She knew what she was doing and obviously didn't care what it did to our family. Our marriage had its ups and downs, and I've not always been the greatest husband. I've never been unfaithful, though I love her dearly. Whatever issues we had, I think we could have worked out, or worked through. Well, that's what he thought, but obviously she wasn't, and I guarantee you, whatever things he said, he obviously wasn't the greatest husband, there were ups and downs. I guarantee you, those ups and downs and things that he may have done, those were things used to justify the cheating. I guarantee you. A lot of women keep track of this shit. Well, in July, he forgot to take the garbage out. In August, he forgot to put the toilet seat down. I'm going to cheat on him. I'm exaggerating here, but you see what I'm talking about here. Trust me, women keep track of this shit. He goes on. He says, from what I can piece together, I think she was looking for a quick escape from a husband and child that she felt were stifling her. It was a chance to have a different, more exciting life. Now, why do you get married? If you want an exciting life, you don't get married, okay? Because it's pretty boring and routine. But again, people get married young. They have no life experience. They don't have anybody that really is honest with them about that, because let's be honest here, a lot of people hope people get married so they can, the old misery loves company. Does it mean that all married couples are miserable? No. There are some exceptions, but generally speaking, most people that are married are somewhere between just being really bored and unfulfilled and hardly ever having sex and all that, to outright hating each other's guts and fighting each other all the time, or somewhere in the middle. And but there's a small percentage that actually have a good thing going, so for them, good. But most of the time, it's not that great. Turns out that her ex-boss was really just looking for a little something on the side. He put her into a cab, still in her evening gown, and made her the 9 a.m. walk of shame at her hotel by herself. Yeah, the boss, he just wanted to hook up with his employee, and that was that. You're going to see it as I go forward, guys, that she was hoping there'd be something going on with the boss later on. After she finally admitted the infidelity to me, she told me that it had been a big mistake and she wanted to stay with me. It's always the same thing, guys. I've done so many of these stories or articles or personal stories that you guys email me. The wife cheats or has an affair. It's even funny, not funny, but it's interesting when there's an affair going on and it's been going on for a while, and eventually she gets caught, and then immediately she says something in a panic like, "Oh, I want to be with you and make it work now." What do you mean? I mean, after the long affair, come on here. Obviously, you would have had the affair if you wanted to make it work, but now you got caught and are afraid you're going to lose everything. Now you want it to work. No, it doesn't work that way. There's a chance that her ex-boss would try to rehire her or to hire her at the new company he works for. And he says she's really damn good at her job, and I suspect his motivations would be more that she would help make him look good rather than sexual. And he also says she's really not his type. So what's he saying about his wife? I told her that there was no way that could happen. She couldn't be with me and work for the man she'd broken her vows with. I told her that she needed to call her ex-boss and tell him that they could never speak again, and I needed to hear her say those words to him. Good for this guy. Good for him for laying down the law. In this moment, she resisted this fairly strongly. Well, she's got some nerve. The new job, if it were to materialize, would be an important career boost for her. Turning it down would be a big sacrifice, so I understood some of the hesitation. She asked me for a day or two to think it through. Bullshit. She gets 2 seconds to think it through. Either she turns it down and tries to make it work and definitely has to go through a period of time showing how sorry she is and trying to make it work, or that's it, she's out the door. There's no a day or two to think about it. You decide right now. Either you're in or you're out. Him doing that is demonstrating weakness, and you're going to see how she takes advantage of it. She went over to her mother's house for a couple of hours, and when she came back, told me she decided to make the call and give up the career opportunity. What she didn't know was that because I get the phone bills, I have access to her call records. I could see that she talked to her boss for an hour while she was going to her mother's. Anybody surprised here? I didn't mention that I knew this and had her call her boss. She told him that it had been a huge mistake and that they needed to cut off all communication. Even though she secretly just had an hour-long call with the boss when she was supposed to be at her mom's house, thinking things through and all that. Probably planning her next move and finding where she stands with the boss. He said that he understood and would honor her wishes. Pretty much exactly what I wanted to hear. They planned every bit of that call. Later, I asked her if she talked to her boss any since he put her in a cab back to her hotel. She said that she hadn't. I pressed her on this, and she said, if you want the truth, I sent him a text just seeing how he was recovering from the party. What a load of crap. She obviously is lying again, and then lying about sending a text. Meanwhile, she did an hour-long conversation. I told her that I knew this was a lie, and I knew she talked to him before coming home from her mother's. I pressed her on what the hour-long call was about. She told me it was to talk about what she was going to call him about later with me. The breakup call. I realized, of course, that this made the whole breakup call a pile of nonsense. In other words, the call that she placed in front of her husband, that call, the secret call, they were planning everything that she was going to say to put up the show for the husband. I mean, she's a liar. She's sneaky. She's diabolical. You got to trust somebody like this? Come on here. It continues. I told her that I thought she called him to see if there was any chance of a relationship. She denied, but couldn't otherwise explain what the hell they talked about for so long. Finally, she let slip that he said, "You need to try to make it work with your husband. If not, then we'll see." So my instincts were right. She had to think about whether to turn down the possible career opportunity because she had to figure out what options were for her. If she could have the job and the fellow she was infatuated with, that would be her preference. Of course. She would have left the family, probably never looked back, because she wanted to have the better job and get the boss that she was infatuated with. But guess what? The boss probably, I guarantee you, she wasn't the first employee they probably hooked up with. She was just a number to him, a notch in the belt. If she could have the job and the fellow she was infatuated with, that would have been her preference. Failing that, she decided she'd rather lose the job and be with her family than be alone and maybe or maybe not get the job. Right. I mean, at the end of the day, she may be unhappy with the marriage and all that, but she doesn't want to be alone, so she's going to settle for him and the family. How nice. And you're going to see this guy, even though he definitely has been on her about the cheating and the lying and all that, what happens? He says, "For what it was worth, I eventually told her to accept the job if they offered it. I don't think he will, though. Once he had sex with her, too much of a career risk for drama and fallout." That was about a month ago. Since then, she's been the model wife. We're going to counseling. She's done everything that I've asked. She's put up with my various late-night talkathons. She doesn't complain when I don't let her sleep in our bedroom, and she's not made it about her much. She clearly wants things to work now, and I believe her when she says she wants to be with me. No. She knows that this is her last chance. She knows that this guy and the family is all she's got left, so she's got to make it work. Therefore, she's put on the act of, like he said, being the model wife and doing all these things. No amount of counseling, because he said they're going to counseling, is going to change the fact that she's unhappy with the marriage. Well, let's be honest here, okay? It is better in this situation, given the fact that the cheating and the constant lying, and obviously she was hoping to make it work with the boss and move on a new life, to just end it then, right? Obviously it'll be hard for the guy's child, but it's better that they split and the child can be in a family, preferably with the dad, in a stable environment versus being with mom and dad when there's obviously a lot of friction and problems in the house. It's just not good. Kids pick up on this shit. Trust me on this. I respect the guy. He wants to be a good guy and good dad and make sacrifices for his child, but at the end of the day, in the long run, he's not helping himself. And life is short. Continues. At the same time, though, I'm still having difficulty just with the physical side of the infidelity, and I'm having a lot of trouble with being plan B. Part of it is my bruised ego, but a very large part is a concern that she wants our relationship now, but what happens in the future? Exactly. Nobody wants to be plan B, and clearly this guy's plan B. So if this guy was contacting me and asking my advice, I'd tell him to end it. Okay? End of story. And he asked what happens in the future? A shitty marriage. That's what's going to happen in the future. I feel like she's accepted her life and is now gung-ho about making it the best of it. What happens down the road, though? Guarantee it's going to happen again. What's going to happen is she's probably going to find everything. She's going to find the right moment to end it on her terms. And this guy's going to be screwed. Better he ends it now on his terms. So the question in front of me now is what to do. For the last month, I've been bouncing all over between just digging in and fixing things to thinking about asking her to leave. For what it's worth, if she leaves, the kiddo almost certainly stays with me. My work gives me the time and ability to be a stay-at-home dad, which is a role I enjoy. Well, I would hope that would happen, but you just never know with the family courts. But this is a good guy. Obviously, he cares so much about his child, and he's willing to put up with the lying, cheating wife, to make the kid happy, but it's not worth it. My inclination as a father is I probably have to stay and try to make it work. Big mistake. Kids do best with a mommy and a daddy who love and respect each other. You guys don't love and respect each other. Come on here. Seriously. If there's still even a remote chance of that happening for the long term, I don't think I can deny my son that chance. I'm hoping, but not convinced, that time will dull some of the raw emotion. Well, as the saying goes, time can heal wounds, but nevertheless, is this guy really ever going to be able to trust her again? You know? But, I mean, just all the lying and the lying and the lying and the plotting and the lying. She's not happy, and she's not ever going to be happy, and it's only a matter of time before something like that happens again. But like I said, what the likelihood is, given my life experience and things that I've known and stories I've heard, the odds are she's going to just wait around for her new moment, and then she'll end things on her term, and this guy is a good guy, will be getting the shaft. So best in a situation like this for this guy, and for anybody that's in a situation or scenario like this, is to basically end it. Okay, and that way then the guy, if he has an opportunity to do his life on his terms, and if he wants to get with a woman again, which sounds like this guy's the type of guy that would, he can be much more selective and have this life experience to make sure it doesn't happen a second time. But you all know my opinion on marriages, but it's this guy's life. So, but anyhow, I thought that'd be a good story to share. Again, it's important to trust your gut, guys. Always trust your gut, and sometimes you gotta let a thing end. End of story. It's just not going to work, and doing it for the kids or anything like that, it won't work out in the end. And this guy, I guarantee you, I'd love to know what happened to him, because I don't see anything about what happens, but I'd love to know what happened. The odds are eventually they parted ways. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below and know what you think about this, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.